Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on the SMT store operator functions. In this video we are going to review the functionality of issuing stock. We are going to start by discussing when to use the issuing functionality, and then I'm going to show you how to register stock distribution and how to register wastage in the SMT. So let's start by understanding what is the issuing functionality and when to use this functionality. So basically, issuing is a functionality that allows users to register and monitor negative stock transactions. That means exits of stock into the SMT. The store operators should use this functionality when products are taken out of the stock. So it can be used to register the distribution of products to another location. For example, if we are at a national store and we receive a requisition from a region, the moment we are sending supplies to that region, we use the issuing functionality to register that transaction. And it can also be used to register the details of products that are being discarded due to wastage. So if in our store something is expired or something has broken and we are taking that out of our stock, to register that transaction of discarding the product, we are also going to use the issuing functionality. So I'm now going to log into the SMT and I'm going to show you these two circumstances and how to use the issuing functionality for each situation. So I go to the SMT, I log in. I'm going to log in as a store operator. I'm here at store operator of this South Regional store. So I click apply. And I'm now inside my SMT. So from here, from the SMT, in my stock overview, I can see that in my store at the moment, I only have two products. So I have two vaccines, BOPV and IPV. I have 5,000 doses of BOPV and 60,000 doses of IPV. So I'm going to move to the issuing functionality. And we can see here in the issuing functionality, this screen is empty. At the moment, we don't have any issues. We have not started registering anything. So to register a new issue of stock, a new transaction, I'm going to start by clicking here the issue new stock. This is going to open a new window. In the new window, I have two parts. So the first part is the generic details about my issue, about my transaction, and then the bottom part of the screen is the details of the products that I'm registering. The first thing that I need to do is to select the type of issue. So am I going to register a requisition? So that means I'm sending supplies to another store, or do I want to register wastage? So we are going to start with the first option. We are going to register a requisition. So that's the same as registering distribution of stock to another store. The next thing that I need to register is my issue date. So I can select when I have completed this transaction. So I can select today's date, or if it's something that I have done a few days in the past and I'm now entering the details into the SMT, I can also select another date. So let's assume we are talking about a transaction that is happening today. So I select and I click OK. The next thing that I need to select is my recipient store. So we are going to send some vaccines out, but to whom? So here I should select, I can click to open the list of stores. So I can send something back to the national vaccine store. I can send stock to another regional store, or I can send supplies to the districts. So if you put your mouse on top of the districts, you can see to which region does the district belong to. So in this case, as I was saying, I'm in the south regional store. So I'm going to send supplies to this district store 3, which belongs to my region. So I select that. And this is all I need to select to begin with. There's some other optional fields, like for example this one, whether this is something that has been distributed late. So is this something that is I'm sending as part of my regular distribution to the districts, or is it something that I'm distributing out of the regular schedule? So if I want to keep track of that for recording purposes, I can just select here whether this is something that I have distributed late or not. And there's a space also to add and to link this to like an international shipping reference. In this case is not relevant, so I'm going to leave it blank. As well, you can see here that my username, this is my username here, so it's being registered as well. So this is for tracking purposes. The moment you register any transaction in the SMT, your name is going to be associated to that transaction. So in the future, someone can track who has recorded that distribution of supplies. Once the generic details have been completed, then I can start registering the details of the items that I'm going to send. So I click here on Add Line to Issue. This will open a new window, and from here I need to select the products that I'm going to issue out. I start by selecting the product type, whether it is a vaccine, a diluent, or a supply. So I'm going to select vaccine. And then the SMT is going to give me a list of the vaccines that I have available in my store. Of course, if there is something that I don't have in my store, I cannot issue it out. So in this case, as we saw at the very beginning, I only have 2 items in stock, IPV and BOPV. So these are the 2 options that the platform is giving me. So I'm going to issue out IPV, so I select that. And then the platform will give me a list of the batch numbers that I have available in my stock. The batch number is going to be arranged according to expiry date. So the ones that expire first will be shown first. So if I put the mouse on top of the batch, I can see here, this is the expiry date, 31st December 2024. This one is expiry date 30th November 2026. So we are going to select the batch that will expire first. And once I select the product and the batch number, the rest of details, since they are already registered in the platform, will show automatically. So I don't need to complete anything else. I just need to enter the quantity in doses, the quantity that I'm going to issue out. So for example, I want to issue 4,000 doses. It's going to give me the storage location as well. And I'm going to save that. The line is going to be reflected here. Now I can add another item. So again, I click Add Line to Issue, and I keep adding my products. So let's say that apart from issuing out IPV, I'm also going to send them some BOPV. So I select the product. In this case, I only have 1 batch in my stock, so I just select that batch. And I select the quantity that I want to send to them. So in this case, I will send them 2,000 doses. And I save. And just like that, you need to keep adding the full list of items that you are going to issue to the other store. So all your vaccines, all your diluents, if you're sending any syringes, anything that you are going to send, you just keep clicking Add Line to Issue until you complete all the items. If you made any mistake, you can just come here to Edit, reopen this, make any changes and update. Or if you happen to enter anything by mistake, for example, like a duplicate, you can also delete some lines using the delete button. Once you have finished, you have two options. One is to save as a draft and go back. The other one is to finalize. We recommend that we use the first option, saved as draft and go back. So when you save as a draft and you go back, you see that now this transaction is being reflected here in the issue in the store. Before the issue in the store was completely blank. Now you have your transaction here. If you go back to the stock overview, you see the transaction is not reflected yet. I still have my 60,000 doses of IPV and my 5,000 doses of BOPV. So what we can do here from the issuing screen is now to print an issue voucher. So I click here on print issue, and this is going to give me the full list of items that I want to issue out. So here I have my BOPV. It's giving me expiry date, batch number, all the details, and the storage location. And here also the quantity and the number of vials and the volume, okay, and some other packing details. There's also space for the issuing store to sign and for the receiving store to sign. So the recommendation is that you print this or you use this as a packing list. So you have not packed your items yet. You have just registered anything as draft. So you can now use this to go to your walk-in cooler 01 to pick your 2,000 doses of BOPV. Then you go to in this case, the same walk-in cooler to pick your 4,000 doses of IPV, and you complete everything. This will give you the opportunity to make any changes if needed. If you realize that maybe this batch number is no longer available, or that there is any other issues, there is some of the items that maybe the VVM has changed, you can no longer issue them out. So this will give you the opportunity to review, pack the items, or make any changes. Once you have packed everything and you are sure that this is what you are going to distribute, then is when you can actually go and complete the transaction. So the transaction is in draft state, so you simply click edit. If you made any changes, you come here to a specific edit button of the specific line and make the changes necessary. If not, you can simply click finalize, and the transaction is now registered. So you have here your completed transaction, and you can now come and print the final issue voucher. So this issue voucher is now coming already with a reference number. So this is the one that you should then sign and send together with your supplies to the receiving store, so they can also sign that they have received. As you can see here, the transaction gets registered on this screen, but if I go back to the stock overview, I can also see that my stock balances have been updated. So I was having 5,000 doses of BOPV, now I have 3,000. I was having 60,000 doses of IPV, now I have 56,000. So my stock has been updated accordingly. And if we are using the online version of the SMT, like in my case, and we are sending supplies to another store which is also using the online version of the SMT, the moment you complete this transaction, the receiving store is going to receive a notification and will have all the information of the items they are going to receive from you. The other situation in which we can use the issuing functionality is when we want to register wastage. I'm going to show you that. So I go back to the issuing, and I'm going to follow exactly the same process. I click issue new stock, but in this case, instead of selecting issue type requisition, I'm going to select wastage. The same, I select the date, and when I come here to recipient store, if I display the menu, I'm going to see that instead of having a list of stores, I'm going to have a list of reasons for wastage. So in this case, I'm going to register, for example, a breakage. And then I need to register the details of the item that I'm discarding due to breakage. So I go to add line to issue, the same as before, and I select the details. So this is the vaccine. Let's assume that when I was issuing out my IPV, this is the batch that I was managing, and by mistake I actually broke one vial, so that means 10 doses. So I'm going to register here that the quantity that has been discarded is 10 doses. I can add some comments if I want. Okay, and then I click save. The same as with the distribution of supplies. Here, once I have entered the details, I have the option to save as a draft and go back, or finalize. If I save as a draft and go back, the line is going to show here, it's showing draft. I go to the stock overview. The item is not reflected yet. If I come back to issuing and I want to complete that transaction, I can click edit. I review if needed, and then I can finalize. It's very important, this process of saving things as a draft and reviewing and then completing, because once a transaction has been completed, it cannot be modified. So you can see now that the edit button is completely gone. So now the only thing that I can do is to view. So that's why it's quite useful to have this draft option, so you can review all your records, review that the data you are entering is correct before you finalize the transaction. Once you finalize it, you can see that it's registered here. The issue state has changed to complete. And now if I go back to my stock overview, I can see that those 10 doses have been deducted here from the total. I was having 56,000, now I have 55,990. So this is basically the two situations in which you can use the issuing functionality: when you are distributing supplies to another store, or when you want to register that you are discarding some products. I hope this video tutorial on the issuing functionality has been useful. See you in the next one.